Welcome back to New Testament Greek. We're ready for Efford's Lesson 7 on page 32. Today we're going to speak about adjectives. Adjectives, of course, are words that modify, that describe nouns. An adjective must agree with the noun it modifies in gender, number, and case. So the adjectives are going to have endings like the noun endings that we've already learned. So today we're going to learn some endings, first and second declension adjectives they're called. And they're going to have very familiar endings. Your masculine adjectives will have endings just like your masculine second declension nouns. So if you glance over at page 33, you can see, there's the masculine and agathos, agathu, agatho, agathon. And then in the plural, agathoi, agathon, agathois, agathus. So just these nice normal endings. Likewise, for the neuter, the neuter adjectives of the second declension have these endings that we already know, which is very nice. And then likewise, the feminine adjectives have the normal feminine endings of the first declension that we already know. And they're going to follow the same rules that you already know about, when do you use the ace, ain, and when do you use the as, on in the singular. And there is no inside-out pattern. So this inside-out pattern is not used. The doxa type is not used for the adjectives of the first declension. So just these first two in the singular, and then the plural, ionisos, as we would expect. So the endings are nothing new. But how we use adjectives, that's what we want to learn today. So an adjective can be used in one of two ways, and this depends on how it's being used with the article. So an adjective can be used in the attributive or the predicate position. The attributive position, you can remember this with these A's. The adjective is after the article. That's called the attributive position. So ha agathos doulos, the good slave. And we could also double the article, ha doulos ha agathos. That's also just translated the good slave. And also doulos ha agathos, the good slave. So all of those mean the good slave. The important thing is, where is the article in relation to the adjective? So the adjective here is agathos, good. The noun is doulos, slave. So since slave is masculine, singular, nominative here, it's our nominative ending, so must my adjective. We could change this. We could change this to the, gotta type in Greek. We could change this to the genitive easily enough. Whoops, not if I can't type it right though, honestly. To agathu doulou. To agathu doulou would just be of the good slave. Yeah, but again, since I changed my noun to genitive singular masculine, my adjective has to be genitive singular masculine. They have to agree. And or the adjective can be in the predicate position or predicative position, where the article is not, there's no article directly in front of the adjective. So this is ha doulos agathos. It's called the predicate because there's an understood verb of being in there. So what's understood in here is that estin. Have we had estin yet? I guess we haven't. It means is. The slave is good. So no article on the adjective here. You see agathos. There's no article on it. Here agathos. No article on it. That's the predicative or predicate position, and it means the slave is good. We already reviewed the endings, but you can see them all again on page 33, all in one place. Again, you've already learned these endings, so that's great. So no new endings to learn in this lesson. come to page 34, and we're going to learn about a very special adjective, autos. Its declension is normal, declined, just like first and second declension adjectives, except it has a different neuter singular nominative form. And of course, in all neuters, the nominative and the accusative are the same. So instead of being auton, it's auta, with no nu on the end. Which actually helps because, of course, auton is the masculine accusative. So by the neuter having this special form, that helps us keep it straight from the masculine. Okay, when autos is used in the attributive position here, you can see it's the adjective is after the article, so that's attributive. Then autos means same. So this is the same Lord. When it is not in the attributive, but is instead in the predicate position, this does not mean the Lord is himself, as we would expect with the rule we just learned up here about the predicate position. When the adjective is in the predicate position, the slave is good. We might think that autos in the predicate position would mean, therefore, the master is himself. But here it just serves as as intensifying, is what we would have, what we call it in English. This means the Lord himself. So we could have the Lord himself. Let's add a verb. The Lord himself says. Right? The Lord himself says. That's how you would do it. And then in the oblique cases, that is, all the cases except the nominative are called the oblique cases, then autos just serves as the third person pronoun. So this means I pursue him, because it's masculine. It's mistyped. Whoops. Oh, goodness sakes. It's masculine. Goodness sakes. There we go. It's masculine, accusative singular, I pursue him. Okay. So you need to make a flashcard of all those different usages of autos. So you make a flashcard, what does autos mean in the attributive position? What does it mean in the predicative position? And then what does it mean when it is in the oblique cases? On page 35, we see some tricky nouns. There are some nouns of almost all the nouns we know of the first declension are feminine. The phone, doxa, cardia type, those are almost all nouns of the first declension are feminine and have those alpha or eta endings. Almost all the nouns of the second declension, which have the os, u, o, on, or in the neuter, on, u, o, on, almost all of those are masculine or neuter in the second declension. But there are some exceptions. And you can see that on page 35. We get the word prophet, ha prophetes. It's a masculine noun. It has ha as its article, but it has first declension endings. And this happens in a lot of Greek words, mostly occupations and titles. So here's an occupation, prophetes, prophet. So it has this odd first declension set of endings, but it's a masculine noun. The genitive and the nominative and genitive singular have special endings, ace and u. So again, as a reminder, here are the normal first declension endings when the noun is feminine, which almost all of them are. But now we've got some masculine endings, and so here I'll just pop these into parentheses. So for the masculine, this ending is ace in the nominative singular, and the genitive masculine ending is u. And again, you can see that on page 35. You should make a flashcard of prophetes, to make sure that you get that memorized appropriately. And then on page 36, you can see that there are also a few feminine nouns with second declension endings. And the example you have on page 36 is Hey Hadas, the road, or the way, the path. It has what looks to us to be, we think of them as masculine endings. They're really second declension endings. And this is a feminine word, so make a note card of that. And how will you know? How will you know what the ending on a noun is? Well, look at the article and the vocabulary word. So look on page 36 now. I'll read through the vocabulary. Ha adelphos. When you put that on your flashcard, remember you need to do that with the article. Oh, I'm having a hard time typing today. Ha adelphos. Ha adelphos. The brother. So it's got ha on it, so you know it's masculine. It's got an os ending, you know it's our nice normal second declension ending. Next word, tadoran, you know that second declension, and neuter means gift. Ha mathetes, disciple or learner. So here's our example of what we have this week with our first declension endings, but masculine word. And once again, it's a title or an occupation. Ha mathetes. It has ha on it. I know it's masculine, but it has this ace ending, so I know it's this weird first declension set of endings. Ace, u, a, ain, ion, isos. Ha oinos is wine. Ha prophetes is prophet. And now you can see how adjectives will be listed in your vocabulary. It's listed agathos and then aon. So where did our agathos go? So when we have adjectives listed in vocabulary, they'll look like this: agathos, aon, and that tells you that's the masculine endings, feminine endings, neuter endings, and it tells you they're nice normal endings. So so when you write your flashcards, likewise, this should be what's on the front of the flashcard. Agathos, aon. So you know it's an adjective, you know it has three endings, three sets of endings for masculine, feminine, and neuter. Because we will eventually get to adjectives that only have two sets of endings. Okay, agathos, good. Agapetos, beloved. Autos, the very special word. You need to make a flashcard of how autos works. Dikaios means righteous or just. Eschatos means last, like eschatology, the study of the last things. Kakos, evil. Kalos, good or beautiful. Mikros, small. You see that in many English words, microscope and so forth. Manas, only or alone. Pistos, faithful. Paneros, evil. Protos is first. So make your flashcards of what we learned. Again, there's not much to make a flashcard about how adjectives work, about how autos works. The only new forms, I guess you would say, would be those nominative and genitive singular forms for prophetes. Study your vocabulary. Once you kind of have that vocabulary under your belt, you feel pretty good. You know, you've studied for a day or two. Then go to work on your translations. And I'm actually going to make a separate video for the translations for Chapter 7. And again, I just want you to do the Greek to English. And once you have those worked out, so take a day or two to learn the vocabulary from this lesson, and then take a day or two to work out those 7 translations, going through our steps, find the verb, parse it, where's the nominative, is there an accusative to be the object, and so forth. Then fire up the other video to get your corrected translations.